Hi, welcome to this video and welcome back to my office. Have you ever had one of these electronic key fobs go through the washing machine? Well, someone has, not me, but it's our job to fix it today. Let's go. Okay, that's a pretty close look up. As you can see, obviously there was power in the battery when this thing went into the washing machine, and so that's caused this corrosion. The spring's not too bad there. The other end is pretty corroded. These switches could be full of gunk, and you can see that a lot of the components, the crystal right there, this bit here, this crystal here could be in trouble. It's a seal package, so it should be alright. There's a lot of fuzz around these, around the microchips. But I think we can clean that all up. A bit of rust, a bit of copper oxide happening there. But overall, it's I suppose it's as to be expected. So let's have a look at how we're going to tackle this little beastie. There's nothing really on the back, just a little bit of rust. But I think this will clean up all right. Right, so how are we going to tackle this? Well, I'm going to put this inside a container, like a glass jar. I'm going to put alcohol in that, and then I'm going to put that glass jar into the ultrasonic cleaner. I don't want to fill up a full tub with alcohol in the ultrasonic cleaner, because that's just wasteful. And all you need to do is have a small amount of whatever it is you're trying to clean apart with in a jar, and the ultrasonic waves will travel through the glass jar, or plastic jar. Glass is better because it's heavier and it sinks to the bottom, and that'll penetrate everything here. The rust we might have to tackle a little bit differently, but certainly in terms of what I think is soap and gunk around things, the ultrasonic will clean it up. So let's go do that. This is my ultrasonic cleaner. It's a dual piezo heated digital ultrasonic cleaner, and I may not have been really clear about this before, but you have to have water in the ultrasonic cleaner. It has to be full of liquid, usually up to the here, like the top of the basket, where the basket is. I'm not sure if it's too clear, but yeah, it's filled with water. Okay, if you try to run one of these without liquid in it, it's only going to last a few seconds, and it's going to go bang, and it's not fixable. It blows the power supply, but what it does is it cracks the piezo elements, okay, and then it's unrepairable unless you replace the piezo elements, and then it's not worth it. You have to replace the whole thing. Okay, so what we're doing is we're actually going to put the liquid that we want to clean in a glass jar here, and we're going to put what we want to clean in there, which is our card. And that only takes up a small amount of liquid in the bottom, and the weight of the jar along with that liquid should keep that suspended in the bottom there, and we'll leave it on. Now I'll probably put it on for about 15 minutes, see what happens. Just a word with these, if you're putting anything that's alloy in there, depending on the alloy, don't run it for more than 15 minutes at a time because it turns the alloy black. Okay, so I'll find some alcohol to put in this jar and we'll come back and we'll kick it all off. I'm going to turn that on and let it start heating up. It's set to 36 degrees, could be a bit higher than that I suppose, but that's okay. So it's temperature on this side and time on this side. Okay, now I buy this isopropyl alcohol from electronic stores. You can get it from electronic stores, distributors, or buy it as rubbing alcohol. It's isopropyl alcohol is what you're looking for. You can see that. Don't buy it from hardware stores because they sell tiny little bottles like this big for what you could buy this big bottle for. Okay, so we've got our liquid now, we've got it in there. We're going to put it into the water and it might float. It's floating and we'll turn it on. We'll leave that for 15 minutes and we'll come back and see what it looks like. Okay, we've got just on 30 seconds to go. Looking in the glass jar, there hasn't been an awful lot of gunk released, but it wasn't really that dirty. It was only around the legs of the chips, and we did look at it under quite a bit of magnification. So let's just wait. We've got 10 seconds to go. We might give it a bit of a brush with a toothbrush to just get anything that's floating off it, and then we'll take it back and give it a blow out. Okay, so there we go. And so you can see the liquid is not clear. Whatever was on it has dissolved back, which is probably soap. That's where it is there. But I'll move that around. Let's take it over to the bench. Okay, so I'll open that up. Let's see that. Take that out there. I'm going to get a toothbrush, just give it a bit of a clean, and what's surprising actually, it's even taken most of the rust off here, and we'll have a look. But while I've just got that just soaking in here for a second, let me go fire up the compressor. Quite a bit of junk in the bottom of that. That's okay. One of the more handy tools that you can have in your arsenal is a compressor. Those little switches are clicking. I think you can hear them there. But whether or not they're full of gunk, I wouldn't think so. If we just clean the outside with alcohol and the toothbrush, there's a fair chance that these would have been full of junk and wouldn't work. You can see the bottom there, it's quite shiny. It's got rid of all that build-up there. This is still a little bit rusty. Might have to give that a bit of a clean with a file. Just to get a good contact. But let's go back to the office, have a really close look with the macro lens at what we've got there, and we'll put a new battery in it and see what happens. Okay, so we can see now most of the board is clean. All this sort of stuff left on, we cleaned most of this off. There's a little bit around the switch which may be of concern. We'll find out when we start trying to use it. You could see the bulk of the what was in between all these posts on this chip and around the crystal here are all gone. I think that's a crystal. You can see on the back what was here that's all gone, which is good. There's still a little bit on that there, but I think that's in that track, so that's probably just going to be like that. Try cleaning that out a bit with a pick, and that's all. So I'm going to give that a bit of a pick with something and try and clean that out. Okay, so I've given that a bit of a clean. It's actually not too bad because the raised area generally where the battery sits is pretty clean. It was only like down below in this sort of area here. Luckily I happen to have one of these in my little container, which I'll do a video on another time, but it's the same battery that my doorbell uses. So let's put that in and see what happens. Okay. I'm sorry, my PC's booted up in the background to do its daily backups, so it might just be a little bit of noise from that. Put that battery in. There, we got a battery. And look at that, the LED in the bottom, just here by my thumb, is actually working. There you go. For all 4 buttons, so looks like it survived. I'll put it back together. That lights up on all 4 buttons. So we can call that good. Okay, it's back apart again. I took a drive to the person's house where the garage door opener is from, and it wouldn't work. It appears to be transmitting, but it didn't open the door, and we couldn't reprogram the door to recognize the key. So it's back to the drawing board, and I found what's wrong. Let me show you. Okay, let's look at the EG301, which is basically the brains of this chip, and in particular we'll look more closely at pin 8. You can see the corrosion there, and the pin is actually almost gone, and that eyelet through the board actually doesn't have any continuity from one side to the other. What that basically means is that on this side of the board, where the eyelet comes through and connects to a track that eventually becomes the antenna ground plane, is non-existent. So therefore the antenna wasn't connected to the chip, and so it wasn't able to transmit a strong enough signal to be received by the garage door opener. Through here, connects through this eyelet and becomes part of the ground plane, because it is actually on the other side connected to the ground side of the battery. So I needed to put a wire through from this side and join it to this track. Okay, so on this side of the board, the chip there had that leg disconnected through corrosion, and also the hole had no continuity through the eyelet. You can see these little eyelets here. As I said, it's like 0.1 of a millimeter in diameter, that hole. So yeah, continuity test from this chip to the ground plane on the other side was open circuit. This side of the chip here drives this leg here goes through and drives this LED. So when you press the button, the LED flashes. So the chip is working, it's driving the LED, but obviously without the antenna or the ground plane from the antenna connected, you weren't getting anything coming out of the antenna to drive the connection remotely to the door opener. So we fix that now, and it works. Right, so there you go, all fixed. Very simple to fix if you have an ultrasonic cleaner and a compressor, which any good garage would have, I guess. Otherwise you're going to spend a fair amount of time brushing all that growth, I guess, of the oxidization off the PCB. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell your friends and share it around if you like. Thanks for joining in all the fun, but that's all we've got time for today. And in the meantime, you all look after each other, take care, and above all, be kind to one another. And we'll see you on the next episode of Tips and Tricks.